This program is brought to you by the Niger Delta Development Commission, NDDC. This is NDDC Today.
Good evening and happy to know that you're there for us. The task of developing the Niger Delta has never been said to be an easy affair. Every government and genuine stakeholders of the region agree to the fact that the challenges before the Niger Delta region and its people are enormous. Those challenges are the reason that brought about the setting up of the Niger Delta Development Commission, NDDC, for them to be in the front line to break all the developmental debacles of the region. But 20 years down the line, many questions are now being asked, all in the quest to know how far the NDDC has impacted on the lives of the people in the region. We are here every week to give you the scorecard of the Commission as it concerns the development of the Niger Delta. This is NDDC Today. Stay with us. The Minister of the Niger Delta Affairs, Senator Godswill Akpabio, who doubles as the Supervising Minister of the NDDC last week, paid a visit to the NDDC new headquarters in Port Harcourt, where he inspected the progress of the work at the new permanent headquarters of the Commission. Our correspondent was on the Minister's entourage, and he brings in this report.
The head officers of big corporate organizations in the world are where most, if not all, important decisions that concern their operations are coordinated from. As for an agency like the Niger Delta Development Commission, NDDC, it truly deserves a corporate head office befitting of its status and conducive enough to handle the high volume of corporate activities of the Commission. This magnificent edifice is the new corporate headquarters of the NDDC, Port Harcourt, River State. A significant landmark that has taken almost 28 years in the making. A local architectural edifice of the Commission. Another multi-billion naira flagship project that could be counted now in going forward as one of the most outstanding landmarks in the Niger Delta. Last week, the Minister of the Niger Delta Affairs, Senator Godswill Akpabio, paid a visit to the headquarters building of the NDDC, where he said that the Ministry of the Niger Delta Affairs is committed to harmonizing with the Niger Delta Development Master Plan, earlier midwifed by the NDDC, to produce one regional roadmap for the development of the oil-rich Niger Delta. Senator Akpabio gave this commitment when his entourage, which included the Permanent Secretary of MNDA, Dr. Babayo Ardo, were received by the Acting Managing Director, Professor Kamebradikumo Ponde, in the company of the Acting Executive Director, Finance and Administration, Mr. Effiong Akwa, and a member of the IMC, Mrs. Caroline Nagbo, and directors of the Commission, to inspect the NDDC permanent headquarters at the Eastern Bypass, Port Harcourt. The Minister harped on the need for collaboration and synergy in the effort to develop the Niger Delta region, even as he remarked that the 13 floors high-rise office complex tells a positive story for the NDDC. The Minister, however, regretted that the NDDC had not lived up to expectations, just as he congratulated the NDDC Acting Managing Director and other members of the IMC for doing a good job in delivering the new office complex, which he described as a good story for the NDDC.
We are, as a ministry, committed to harmonizing the Regional Development Plan as well as the Niger Delta Action Plan, which was put together under the regime of Senior Libe, then as Managing Director. So we intend to harmonize it so that we can have one Regional Development Master Plan so that all the IOCs and associated companies that are working here will have one plan in mind for the development of Niger Delta.
Akpabio said that Professor Ponde should be proud to be the first Chief Executive Officer of the NDDC to move into the permanent head office, which he described as a legacy project which the IMC will be remembered for.
So the MD, we should be very proud that they are the first managing director to move to this edifice. And this feat could not have been achieved without the cooperation of members of the Interim Management Committee and then the directors in the ministry and the entirety of the staff.
Senator Godswill Akpabio further said that with the inauguration of the NDDC Advisory Committee by President Buhari, in line with the provision of the NDDC Establishment Act, the Commission will henceforth work more closely with the governors of the region so that the problems of duplication of projects would be addressed.
We intend to work closely with the governors so that we have a synergy in development, so that the idea of duplication of projects can come to an end. And at the same time, we also have the Presidential Monitoring Council, that monitoring committee that was set up graciously, Mr. President made me the chairman, and it is an interagency committee from Ministry of Finance to Petroleum to everywhere. They are all members, and so we intend to collaborate and work daily with whichever management is in place in the NDDC to bring about better dividends of democracy for the people.
Speaking earlier, the acting MD, Keme Bradikumo Ponde, said that the new permanent headquarters would add value to the work of the NDDC towards meeting its mandate and facilitating the rapid development of the Niger Delta region. It will be recalled the permanent headquarters of the NDDC was conceived about 28 years ago by the short-lived Oil Minerals Producing Areas Development Commission, OMPADEC. The project suffered delay in its execution and was left unfunded for several years due to no budgetary allocation to the project on the part of some successive boards of the NDDC that inherited all the liabilities of OMPADEC at inception in the year 2000. In 2010, the then board of the commission decided to terminate the existing contract that was awarded by the defunct OMPADEC through the permission and approval granted by the Federal Executive Council FEC meeting chaired by former President Goodluck Jonathan. Thereafter, in 2016, the Senator Ndoma Egba-led board of the NDDC, which had Obong Nsimakere as managing director, re-awarded the project to another contractor, Rodnap, for the speedy completion of the headquarters building project. Since the inception of the Niger Delta Development Commission NDDC in the year 2000, the Commission has witnessed 7 managing directors from 5 different substantive management boards and 8 acting MDs in this succession order. It began with Engineer Godwin Omene, then Honorable Emmanuel Edisiri Agwanewado, then Mr. Timi Alaibi, then Mr. Chibuzo Ugwoha, then Christian Obo, then Barrister Dan Abia, and Obong Isima Ekere as substantive managing directors, while late Pastor Godspa Aginiga, Dr. Chris Atako, Mrs. Ibim Semenditari, Professor Brian Baefa, and Dr. Mrs. Enya Akwagaga, Dr. Gbene Joy Nunye, and lastly, Professor Daniel Beredikumo Ponde in acting capacity as MDs. Each of these persons has their efforts printed all over the new headquarters. 28 years after, the management, staff, and stakeholders of the NDDC, the people of the Niger Delta region, and Nigerians at large are beginning to heave a sigh of relief for the long-awaited completion of this magnificent 13 floors ultra-modern corporate headquarters of the NDDC, which is now the operational base of Professor Keme Bradikumo Ponde's led Interim Management Committee IMC.
The forensic audit, a revolution in the quest for national accountability.
The amount of money which the federal government is religiously allocating to NDDC, we would like to see the results on the ground, and those that are responsible for that, I think, will eventually be asked to explain certain issues.
The NDDC opens itself up for public financial scrutiny.
The forensic audit to all intents and purposes should be seen by all and sundry as the opportunity to assess our behaviors, our performances, our attitudes in the region. It is definitely not a wish hunt.
Every penny, where it went, how it went, to whom it went, all will be laid bare.
If the forensic audit is allowed to continue to its very end, it's going to unearth all this rape of our people, and all those ideally should be brought to book.
In 19 years of its operations, its different projects, their impact or non-impacts, the driving forces behind them, their justification, all will be laid bare.
And what brought the IMC actually is the forensic audit.
All the books are now open.
It is the totality of the rot that came to what we call forensic auditing, ordered by Mr. President. So my answer to all the questions, forensic, forensic, forensic.
The forensic audit, the NDDC apocalypse, now on. Catch up on all the latest details here on NDDC Today.
It is hoped that the magnificent 13th-floor headquarters of NDDC will be ready soon enough for commissioning, as we saw in that report, and the commission can finally operate fully from there. The management of the Niger Delta Development Commission, NDDC, says it is consolidating its existing partnerships with some universities in the United Kingdom, where NDDC postgraduate scholars are undergoing studies to ensure that the Commission gets maximum value for the Commission's foreign postgraduate programs. This is not the first time the management of the Commission is embarking on such a trip to some universities in the United Kingdom. Dr. Patrick Oke and his team's visit to Coventry University in the United Kingdom is expected to lay to rest once and for all the many troubles surrounding the payment of the postgraduate students of the NDDC, as you get to hear from this report.
The Interim Management Committee, IMC, of the Niger Delta Development Commission has commenced the verification, monitoring and evaluation of beneficiaries of the Commission's Foreign Postgraduate Scholarship Program in foreign universities, as earlier promised by the NDDC after some unverified students of the program took to protest at the Nigerian House in London over unpaid claims of scholarship grants from the Commission. The Commission took the decision to carry out a comprehensive verification of outstanding foreign scholarship claims because of obvious discrepancies based on the fact that 50 of those awarded the scholarships in 2019 did not leave Nigeria for their studies in the UK. According to the Acting Executive Director Project of the NDDC, Dr. Patrick Oke, who is in London to carry out the verification exercise, this will involve the registration of all the scholars on a customized new portal built for the Commission and the confirmation of their claims with the universities of study. The delay in the payment of the scholarships, Dr. Patrick said, were caused by many factors, which included the fight with those opposed to Mr. President's forensic audit of the Commission, which distracted the management of the Commission from working for at least 2 months. At the meeting with representatives of the universities at the Coventry University in the UK, the NDDC assured the scholars and the university that the Commission would pay all outstanding claims once the verification exercise was concluded. Oke said that the visit to Coventry University became necessary and it has afforded the NDDC the opportunity to verify the number of scholars on the program, examine their performance and check on their well-being, especially in the light of the COVID-19 pandemic. He further stated he was impressed by the way the university had treated the NDDC scholars and their swift response in providing a list of the Commission's scholarship beneficiaries at the institution for the verification process.
We expect to hear that every misunderstanding surrounding the postgraduate program has been laid to rest and that the students are back to their studies without further hitches. The positive impact of the many skills acquisition program the NDDC has carried out in the past is said to be the reason for the peace that is playing out now in the Niger Delta. The acting managing director, Patrick Oke and Associates, has told a contingent from the Naval War College when they paid him a visit in his office in Port Harcourt. Our correspondent who was at the meeting sent in this report.
The Niger Delta Development Commission has reiterated the positive impact of the Commission's skills acquisition program and infrastructure projects in the Niger Delta region, and its effects to curb the incidence of pipeline vandalism in the region. The acting managing director of the Commission, Professor Patrick Oke and Associates, re-echoed these impacts in Port Harcourt recently when he hosted a contingent from the Nigerian Naval War College, led by its commandant, Rear Admiral Adesheye Ayobanjo. Professor Ponde noted that there had been a drastic reduction in pipeline vandalism in the region over the past 5 years, as a result of the engagement of the youths in skills acquisition and economic empowerment programs, stating that this has contributed immensely to the economic and social stability of the Niger Delta region.
One of the ways that the NDDC keys into that is to divert the attention of the youths from those type of activities by engaging them in either meaningful employment, skills acquisition, or other interventions. Over the years, there have been training programs that have sort of absorbed these youths, and the current NDDC plan is to expand on this to take these youths away from those activities which hamper the socio-economic development of the region.
While noting that it was not the duty of the NDDC to engage in pipeline security and surveillance, Professor Ponde said that the Commission was focused on interventionist programs, which has ensured stability in the region.
We do not do security as per se, but we rely on the security agencies and interact actively with them.
Speaking, the commandant of the Nigerian Naval War College, Rear Admiral Ayobanjo, said the warfare course 4 participants of the college were on a study tour to key stakeholders who impact on the security and stability of the Niger Delta region.
For this course, Naval Warfare Course 4, Rivers State was identified and approved for us to embark on the environmental study tour. And particularly, the menace of pipeline vandalism was the security challenge in focus. And so we're visiting Rivers State with a view to addressing the theme of the study tour, which is curbing pipeline vandalism towards enhancing socio-economic development in Rivers State.
Also speaking at the occasion was the NDDC Acting Executive Director, Finance and Administration, Mr. Effiong Akwa, who said that the visit of the Commandant to the Commission was a step in the right direction, stating that such visits to the Commission and to other stakeholders in the region will enable the college achieve real victory in their mandate without firing a shot.
It is our hope that the peace in the Niger Delta is sustained, as there cannot be any meaningful development in the absence of peace. We also hope that other government agencies in that region should endeavor to pay more attention to youth development so as to guarantee lasting peace in the region. The multi-billion naira Obianembe Road and Bridges project is awaiting to be commissioned, but the Nembe people and many other adjoining communities and towns in that locality are already reaping the benefits of that highway. It has surely changed the economic and social lifestyle of the people for good, and their joy knows no bounds. We bring you a story on the Obianembe Road and the Bridges Highway. What else can the Nembe people ask for?
Nembe, the ancient city-state, seen from the air, displays all its breathtaking beauty and splendor like a jewel in the creeks. Nembe, whose rump hugs the salty waters of the Atlantic Ocean, is the terminal point of the Obianembe Road and is probably the greatest beneficiary of the project. Until now, it was completely cut off from the advancing civilization. To get from here to Yenagoa or Port Harcourt, you took a flying boat of 3 hours fraught with many capsizers, or you took this ferry that took 10 hours to get to Port Harcourt. Now that trip upland takes barely 20 minutes. Yet all you see here was built when there were no roads. Even the contents of the old bridge linking Ogbolomabiri and Basambiri, built with bars and concrete, came here entirely by boat, barges or canoes. The new bridge shines under from beyond, a bristling new generation. 27 kilometers across the jungle swamp upland is Ogbia local government, home of Iloibiri, the home of the first Christmas tree, a term used for the end of the flow stations by which crude oil is pumped to tank farms. In 1956, this was a huge novelty to Ogbia community. Many didn't know what it was. Most saw it as another of those structures of European technological presence. They didn't know that through this and others like it, millions of barrels of our new wealth found on their soil would flow to nourish a Nigerian economy which at that time was unsure of its mainstay. It was only fitting, therefore, that the NDDC would honor its origins by honoring Iloibiri with exposure. It would be the starting point of one of the most significant road projects ever undertaken by the NDDC. The strategic Obianembe Road and Bridges project deserves for all intents and purposes the tag of a mega project, which is probably why it has taken decades to become a reality. The people of this area have been agitating for the construction of the road that would link the 14 communities along the axis and open them to development. These communities had never before been connected to a road network, and their only option of transport was by boats and canoes on the creeks and rivers that crisscross the area to connect the rest of the state. Despite the pledge of various past administrations to actualize the project, the greatest impediment was the huge cost implication occasioned by the forbidden terrain, which is entirely virgin mangrove swamp forest. Then in 2005, the Niger Delta Development Commission NDDC and Shell Petroleum Development Company SPDC entered into a joint venture partnership agreement, sealed with the signing of an MOU with the sole objective of executing and delivering the Obianembe Road and Bridges project. The economic benefits of this all-important road are visible almost everywhere in Nembe.
Commercial activities are coming up. We are seeing Igbo people coming with their goods here on our marketing days. So that is one other business, one other benefit that we have derived from this road.
The road has actually helped us in terms of business, because transport there is very easy. I cannot leave now to Nimbe and come back. But in the olden days, I will go to Ogbuya, and if there's no friend, but I cannot go to Nimbe.
Emakalakala is a community located about 7 kilometers from the starting point of the road in Ogbuya, and is close to Agip Canal, which has the longest bridge on the Ogbuya-Nembe road.
When there was no road, we find it very difficult, because we pass through hordes before we reach in here, like say for example Port Harcourt to Emakalakala. I think we spend some number of hours before reaching here.
Without this road, it was not easy for a Nembe man to travel out, because once you get into the river, there are lots of problems in the river. Sea piracy, accidents, so on and so forth.
In the past, you people used to hear about Nembe people boat mishap here and there. These days, no life, because we are not plying the rivers unless we are in our localities going to our local areas. This is the major road that is helping a Nembe man, saving us from all this boat mishap and this and that. Then the sea piracy, all those things, we don't know them no longer.
Things are going fine now. Things are going fine. All the sea pirates, nothing again. We can buy things and come and sell it and go by that same day. So it's very fine now.
As the Ogbuya-Nembe Road and Bridges project approaches the completion stage, the NDDC SPDC joint venture partnership that delivered the road has demonstrated not only a great engineering feat by conquering the swamps in the heart of the Niger Delta for this mega road showpiece, but has succeeded where no one else dared before now. It will stand as a lasting testimony to the power of partnerships in regional development, and is a harbinger of greater things to come. To some, the Ogbuya-Nembe Road might just be that, a road. But in essence, in providing this road, the NDDC and SPDC have woken up a huge giant, until now all bottled up in the creeks. The giant of the great entrepreneurial spirit of the people, waiting to break loose. Now, Nigeria must look out. There is a new kid in the block.
No doubt, the NDDC hopes to open up more communities and towns that are locked deep in the bellies of the mangrove forests in the Niger Delta. Like Nimbe before the NDDC came to their rescue, there are thousands of communities waiting for the NDDC in their domain. That's our package for today, and until we come your way again next week. Now, should you have any suggestions you wish to pass on to us, please do reach out to us. Thank you again for your time, and good night.